Cliff Richard, born Harry Roger Webb on October 14, 1940 in Lucknow, India, had a childhood marked by significant upheaval and resilience. After Indian independence, his family moved back to England in 1948, settling in Hertfordshire. Growing up during the post-war era, he faced the challenges of adjusting to a new life in England, dealing with poverty and cultural dislocation. However, music became his escape and his passion, and by his teenage years, he began dreaming of a career in performance. Cliff adopted his stage name, inspired by the rock and roll and the legendary musician Little Richard. His early career was shaped by his commitment to music, eventually catapulting him to fame. The rise of Cliff Richard, breaking into rock and roll. Cliff Richard's big break came in 1958 with the release of his first hit, Move It, a song often regarded as the first authentic British rock and roll track. The success of Move It earned him a reputation as the UK's answer to Elvis Presley. With his backing band, The Shadows, originally The Drifters, Cliff quickly became a sensation, capturing the hearts of British teenagers. His slick, charismatic persona and guitar-driven rock sound made him a fixture in the British pop scene. Throughout the 1960s, Cliff maintained his success, proving his versatility by not only releasing chart-topping hits, but also starring in a string of successful musical films like The Young Ones, 1961, and Summer Holiday, 1963. His clean-cut image made him beloved across generational lines. A spiritual awakening and a shift in focus. In 1966, Cliff Richard experienced a spiritual awakening that would greatly influence both his personal life and career. Publicly declaring his Christian faith, he infused his music and performances with messages of morality and hope. This decision set him apart from his peers, as he chose to use his platform to spread positive, uplifting messages. His religious beliefs guided his charitable work, and he became involved with various religious programs. Unlike many celebrities, Cliff's personal life remained remarkably free from scandal, and his reputation for integrity and discipline made him a respected figure both in and out of the music industry. He also chose to remain unmarried, focusing on his music and personal values. Reinvention, a pop star who transcended time. In the 1970s and 1980s, Cliff Richard successfully reinvented himself. Moving beyond his teen idol persona, he evolved into a mature pop artist. His ability to adapt while staying true to his values was a key factor in his enduring success. Hits like Devil Woman, 1976, We Don't Talk Anymore, 1979, and Wired for Sound, 1981, solidified his position as a relevant and enduring artist. His 1988 Christmas classic, Mistletoe and Wine, became a staple of British holiday music. Despite facing personal and professional challenges, including high-profile legal battles, Cliff remained a figure of dignity and perseverance. His ability to stay true to himself and evolve with the times was a testament to his resilience in the face of fame. A personal reflection on romance and relationships. One of the most poignant aspects of Cliff Richard's public life has been his personal decisions regarding relationships. Despite being adored by millions, he chose to remain a lifelong bachelor. His romantic life was often the subject of speculation, but Cliff's emotional complexity and restraint were more evident than any scandal. In his memoir, he opens up about a difficult letter he wrote in 1961 to his first serious girlfriend, Australian dancer Delia Wicks. At just 21, he poured out the anguish of choosing between his career and his relationship. He acknowledged that his music career, which had become his passion, had to take priority over a lasting romantic relationship. It was a deeply emotional and self-aware decision, illustrating the tension between love and duty. Romantic relationships and the price of fame. In the years following his breakup with Delia, Cliff Richard had brief relationships with several notable women, including actress Una Stubbs and dancer Jackie Irving. These relationships were often overshadowed by the pressures of fame. With Irving, Cliff even considered marriage, but like many of his relationships, it ended as the demands of his career took precedence. In the 1980s, his romance with tennis star Sue Barker attracted public attention, with many speculating that the eternal bachelor might finally settle down. The two were seen together frequently, and in 1983, Cliff expressed the possibility of marriage. However, as with previous relationships, their romance eventually faded, and by 1986, Sue had moved on to a relationship with tennis player Stephen Shaw. Cliff, though, maintained a deep respect for her. The lingering heartache, Olivia Newton-John and Unspoken Love. One of the more bittersweet chapters in Cliff Richard's romantic history involves his feelings for legendary singer Olivia Newton-John. During the early 1970s, he admitted to being in love with her, though at the time, she was already engaged to someone else. Cliff's confession in his memoir speaks to a quiet regret, a love that never came to fruition. His acknowledgement of what might have been reflects a recurring theme in his life: his sacrifice for fame and the emotional cost that accompanied it. Despite the missed opportunity, Cliff expressed a lasting admiration for Olivia, who was not only a beautiful woman but also an extraordinary talent. This chapter in his life showcases the vulnerability that often accompanies fame, despite the glittering public persona. A lifelong admiration, reflecting on Paul McCartney's influence. At 84, Cliff Richard chose to open up about his feelings and reflections in his memoir, A Head Full of Music and Memories. One of the most notable aspects of the book is his deep respect for Paul McCartney, a fellow British music legend. Cliff admits that Paul was massive, not just in terms of fame, but in terms of his songwriting genius and cultural impact. While Cliff was already a household name in the 1950s, the rise of the Beatles in the 1960s forced him to confront a new wave of music. Paul McCartney, in particular, captured his admiration with his ability to blend poetic lyricism and universal appeal. Cliff fondly recalls hearing "Love Me Do" on the radio and recognizing immediately that the Beatles represented something revolutionary in the music industry: mutual respect, the unspoken bond between Cliff and Paul. Despite the challenges and changes in the music scene, Cliff Richard speaks warmly of his relationship with Paul McCartney, emphasizing that there was no rivalry between them, only mutual respect. In his memoir, Cliff describes the Beatles as pioneers of a new musical era, while he saw himself as part of the previous generation that helped shape rock and roll. Their interactions over the years were filled with camaraderie, with Cliff recalling backstage moments where the two would joke about the pressures of fame. Even though their paths diverged musically, the two icons shared an understanding of the complexities of fame. For Cliff, Paul McCartney was more than just a peer. He was a musical brother, someone who had helped redefine the British music scene. Cliff Richard's enduring legacy and relationship with music. As he reflects on his career, Cliff Richard is proud of the legacy he's created and the impact he's had on music. His memoir is not just an account of his career, but also a testament to his resilience, perseverance, and unwavering dedication to his craft. He acknowledges the role Paul McCartney and the Beatles played in the evolution of modern music, but he also celebrates his own place within that history. Cliff's ability to navigate the highs and lows of fame, to adapt to changing musical trends while maintaining his authenticity, has allowed him to remain relevant throughout the decades. As he continues to perform well into his 80s, Cliff Richard's legacy is a lasting tribute to his passion for music, his deep respect for fellow artists, and his role in shaping the soundtrack of modern British life. A lifelong musician, Cliff Richard's legacy and future now. At the age of 84, Cliff Richard has lived a life that most could only dream of. His career continues to inspire, and his memoir offers a rare glimpse into the man behind the music. Despite the challenges he faced, both personally and professionally, Cliff Richard has remained true to himself and his music. His story is one of perseverance, authenticity, and deep respect for the art of music. As he reflects on his incredible journey, Cliff Richard's influence on British pop and music history is undeniable, and his legacy will continue to resonate for generations to come.